I think it's the perfect time to address what many of you are thinking right now, which is what's going to happen to the housing market in 2024. After all, home prices in the US hit another all-time high this year, housing inventory is still near all-time lows, and housing affordability is at its worst rate in history. So with that said, we're going to discuss exactly what's happening in the housing market right now, what you should be looking for throughout 2024, and what you should do if you're thinking of making a move this year. And before I kick things off, 90% of you watching are not subscribed to my channel. So if you enjoy these videos, make sure to tap or click that subscribe button. It helps more people just like you gain access to these videos. So 2023 was an interesting year in the housing market, and 2024 is shaping up to be pretty different. And there's some major things that might happen this year that will impact prices and rates and the overall economy. For last year, many economists were predicting a real estate crash, a recession, and plummeting real estate prices all across the country, and we just did not see that happen. In some places where prices rose significantly during COVID, like Boise, Austin, and Phoenix, we did see prices drop in a lot of areas this past year, but for the most part, the majority of the US appreciated with home values. And in Maryland, we're no different. We appreciated just over 7% year over year. And rates ended just about where they started in 2023. We started at around 6.5% and ended around 6.5%, but it did drop towards the end of the year, which made for a nice December. We had a few more active listings than we anticipated, but we were still down 4.3% year over year for active listings. So we're sitting at a tipping point right now. A lot of people that were sitting out the market in 2023 are just fed up with waiting and want to enter the market in 2024. Add to that it's an election year, and there's a potential for a lot of things to happen in 2024. Now let's talk about what to look out for this year and what you should be doing to prepare for what could happen. And the first thing you should be tracking is that the Fed is planning on lowering interest rates 3 times in 2024. Now this is just a plan, and it could be more or less depending on how the inflation data shakes out. But if they do lower interest rates, this could have a major impact on the real estate market across the country. And at the end of 2023, before the Fed even officially announced rate cuts, just the speculation alone led mortgage interest rates to drop 1% in just under a month. The rates dropped from just over 7.5% to just over 6.5% for a 30-year fixed conventional loan. Just imagine, that's just the speculation alone. Imagine if they actually start lowering rates. And the crazier part about this is, if you watch my last market update video, Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Brokers Association, and National Association of Realtors all were predicting that we'd be in the 7s for Q1 of 2024. And we're already below that. So it begs the question, how low can we go in 2024? And if the Fed does lower rates 3 times or more, it wouldn't be that unreasonable to see rates in the low 5s or mid 5s. And while that sounds really exciting, it's actually not the greatest news for buyers out there. This is not like the summer of 2020, where 3% interest rates were just becoming common and home prices hadn't quite caught up yet. You could get a great house with a great payment, and a lot of people that moved during that time are really not planning on moving anytime soon. But what happened with those low interest rates is that the prices rose astronomically. I mean, some places 20, 30, and 40% increases in home appreciation due to those low interest rates. And that led to active inventory being snapped up by all the home buyers in the market looking for that great rate and great monthly payment. But the problem with that is we were already seeing active inventory trending down for the decade leading up to the pandemic. So it led to an inventory crisis, which we are still in today. And new construction builders were of no help during this time because they learned from the 2008 financial crisis that they should not hold inventory because they were in big trouble. They had to sell for huge losses back then, and they just won't let that happen again. And that leads us to the situation we're in today with very low inventory, prices that are remaining elevated since 2021, and sellers that don't want to make a move because they don't want to let go of their interest rate that they got during 2020 and 2021. So if interest rates do drop into the 5% range, I see housing affordability in Maryland specifically getting much worse, which is why I see an opportunity in the housing market right now in Maryland. Between now and let's say March, there is going to be less competition in the market. And yes, the prices don't look all that appealing to you right now, but just think about what happened during COVID. We never thought prices could go up 20, 30, and 40%, and we still have low inventory. It can absolutely happen again when we see home prices skyrocket. Maybe not at the rate that we saw then, but there is more pent-up buyer demand now than ever before. And look, that's not a push to buy now, buy now, buy now, which you hear a lot of realtors talking about. It just means if you want to buy this year and you're already positioned to buy, Going out right now and shopping will lead to less competition, more favorable terms, and then you're beating that rush that will come with the interest rates later. And remember, you can always refinance. And I know what some of you are thinking because I see these comments all the time. No one can afford the houses and income isn't keeping up, so there must be a crash coming because it just doesn't add up. But that's where you're wrong about Maryland. And that's because people that are moving to Maryland, not just within Maryland, but from out of state, have the money. Maryland has one of the strongest local economies in the entire nation. We have one of the best job markets and we have the lowest unemployment rate ever recorded. Now, I know that's not everyone. I know there's a lot of people out there that are having a hard time affording houses. It's actually a majority of the people out there. But in Maryland specifically, that's what I'm talking about. There are enough buyers to snap up that demand. Now, that's not to say that prices will not drop slightly in places that maybe shouldn't have appreciated during COVID. Places way out in the middle of nowhere, places way out in Western Maryland, way down in Southern Maryland that really don't have a reason for the high demand they saw other than people escaping the cities. But you also have to take into account that those places have such a low volume of transactions that it's barely going to be a blip on the radar in the bigger picture of the Maryland housing market. And you also have to consider that people moving to Maryland are moving from less affordable states like California and New York and New Jersey. So coming to Maryland seems like they're getting way more for their money because they get more disposable income moving to Maryland. And while that may make it harder for Marylanders to purchase, you have to think those buyers, they don't care as much about the interest rates when they're escaping a place like New York or New Jersey or California. They only care that they're getting more for their money here. And the last important thing to keep in mind, and then we'll get into what you should do right now, is that it's an election year and you have to think about what administrations do during an election year. A president-elect does not want major swings happening in the economy during an election year, neither does his administration. So you have to think about that. If the Fed does lower rates, don't expect them to make major cuts to the rates. They know exactly what would happen. It would be like 2020. You would see a rush in the housing market, a lot of craziness going on in the economy, and they don't want that. During an election year, they really want to keep everything pretty much status quo. So what does this have to do with you, and what should you be doing if you're looking to buy or sell or invest in 2024? Well, first, the earlier the better if you're a buyer in this market. Jump right in if you're ready, if you're pre-approved, if you know what you're shopping for, go for it. I wouldn't wait for things to shake out throughout the year because everything indicates that rates will lower and housing prices will increase. So you would be hurting yourself most likely by waiting. And another thing to think about when the competition ramps up is you're less likely to be able to win an offer that has home inspections attached to it. And I'm all for home inspections. It protects you as a buyer. And when those go away, bad things happen, lawsuits happen, you get caught with surprises, costly surprises when you move into your home. And another benefit to buyers that I think will go away later in 2024 is that sellers are offering seller credits to entice buyers to offer on their homes. The market has been slower at the end of 2023 going into 2024, and therefore sellers that really need to sell are offering credits to entice them. This could go towards things like buying down your rate or just bringing less cash to the settlement table. This is something we haven't seen for the past 3 years because of the competition, and the higher interest rates brought this back out. And if you're a seller, you're probably thinking, well, I shouldn't list my home right now because that means I have to give a seller credit and I don't want to do that. And here's the thing, that's not always the case. The biggest way to avoid missing out on the best terms for you as a seller is to price your home correctly, make sure everything looks amazing, and make sure your marketing is as professional as possible. All of that has to do with hiring the right agent and having the right strategy. But again, it can be a great time to list because not only is there less competition with buyers, there's less competition against other homes because inventory is low. So if you do it right, your home could stand out among all of the other homes and you get top dollar for your home. But what if you're a buyer or a seller or just a homeowner who does not want to move right now, maybe next year, maybe in a couple years, and you're curious, what should you be doing right now in this market? Well, I would say the number one thing you should be doing, no matter what happens this year, is saving cash. And I know that goes against a lot of investment strategies. So many people will tell you to store your money in investments, have no cash on hand, cash is trash. And in the real estate market, cash is king. It will always be king. For sellers, it puts you in a less stressful position when you list your home. You'll be able to repair things. It just puts you in a great position. And as a buyer, it puts you on the strongest financial footing. It also puts you, gives you a leg up in the negotiating process. So cash is absolutely king in the real estate market. And if you're just sitting around not making moves, you should be storing cash. And the other thing you should be doing if you own a home right now is tracking your equity closely. So many people come to me and they want to move and they have no idea the amount of cash that they're going to take out of their current home and put into the next next one. They don't know what closing costs are. They don't really know what their house is even worth. So you should be tracking your equity by tracking your home value and tracking how much debt you have on your home. And if you don't know how to do that, reach out to me. I'll also put some helpful links in the description below so you can look at those calculators and do it yourself. And finding a service that will give you an accurate home value estimate is actually pretty difficult. Places like Redfin and Zillow can have spreads of $100,000 between the home values that they say for your home. So I've found one that is the most accurate I've ever seen since I started in the business. It's called HomeBot. It's in the description below. I pay for it so that my clients have access to it, and you can just go and type in your address for free. You don't have to sign up. It'll give you an estimate. The good thing is though, if you do sign up, it'll send it to your email every month. I can go in and customize it for you. You can go in and edit it. You can see what you can rent your home for on Airbnb. There's a lot of great tools there. But if you just want your free estimate, go click on the link, put in your address. Nothing's required. It's nice to see, and it's the most accurate service I've ever used. And if you're in Maryland or Southern Pennsylvania and York or Adams counties, I would be happy to put together a comparative market analysis for you that is way more accurate than any service out there. I can send you the report. Happy to do that. Just reach out to me. And let's just recap what we talked about here. 2023 was a year of low inventory, high prices, and high interest rates. 2024 is going to be different. Interest rates are expected to fall. Inventory is expected to hit the market a little more than it did last year. And it's an election year, which means it's a wild card year, and a lot of things could happen. They're going to want to see the economy look good. They're going to want to see the housing market look healthy. So big changes should be coming in 2024. I hope this video prepared you for that. If you want more detailed information on the Maryland housing market and how it applies to you in the specific area that you're looking to move to, reach out to me. I would be happy to help you. And the best way to connect with me is going in the description or in the comments below and clicking on the link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. And if you just have a really quick question, you don't want to get into all that, my information is listed below. Just send me a text or send me an email and I would be happy to help you with your question. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.